we still single because we're just too picky, or is no man reaching the bare minimum anymore? I feel like back in the day with like older generations, like it was just so much easier for men to be men. Is it too much to ask for a guy to be taller than 5'9" and not balding? Is it too much to ask for a guy who isn't dependent on a substance, like who isn't addicted to vaping or smoking or weed or alcohol or video games or gambling? Is it too much to ask for a guy who doesn't have some sort of addiction to something? Even bodybuilding, that's not healthy either. Personally, I would love to find someone who had a similar upbringing to me with a very loving, close-knit family. My parents have been together for 30 years, and it's really hard to find someone who doesn't have divorced parents, and that's upsetting to me. Also, is it too much to ask for a guy who's ambitious and is good with his finances and financially smart and knows what he's doing with money and knows how to save? Is that too much to ask for? To be planning ahead for his retirement fund? Don't get me wrong, I know nobody's perfect. I know that. Nobody's gonna check every single box I have. I understand that. But a lot of these things are just bare minimum.
I don't even think you check any of the boxes that you're talking about. Maybe even half. I mean, you talked about bodybuilding. Well, that's an addiction. What can the man do? What can the man throw himself into that you're going to be okay with? Essentially what you want when they say values and stuff like that, essentially what they want is a carbon copy of themselves, but in the form of a man. Don't you think that's a little bit boring? Don't you think that maybe that's a limited view of the world and how you should see things? Honestly.
If I make a post about women as a woman, why do women come in the comments talking about, oh, are you going to say this about men? Is that going to make what I said about women less relevant? No, because that's not how that works. And you know that's not how that works. So what are you talking about?
Do you ladies believe that chivalry is dead? Because I just had two things happen to me, and it's confirmed for me that chivalry is dead. I don't know if it's the day and age that we're living in or people just don't give a shit. But yesterday I was about to leave a building and there was a man in front of me and we were practically walking side by side. So he knew I was behind him, yet he didn't hold the door for me. He literally had the door slam in my face. Number one. Number two, today I was getting on an elevator and there was a man standing in the elevator. And since I got on the elevator after he did, he was standing in the back and I was standing in front of him. Anyways, we get to the ground floor and I'm about to exit since I'm in front of him. And what does he do? He scoots his body in front of me to let himself off the elevator first. Didn't even occur to him to allow me to exit before him. Not only because I'm a woman, but because I was naturally in front of him, I should have exited first. Those two things have confirmed for me that chivalry is dead. Just no human decency nowadays.
My best friend is one of the most gorgeous people I've ever met in my life. So I do not blame her whatsoever. I blame these men. I blame the men. Are we surprised at this point? No, because the men are always the problem. The men are always the problem. Every single time, I swear every single time that I mess with a guy, talk with a guy, etc., whatever it is, don't mind me missing nail, but whatever it is, they go and add her, not knowing that she's my best friend and she's gonna tell me. She's gonna tell me! This girl will screenshot left and right. She don't care. She don't care, and I love her for that. But I don't love y'all for that. Fuck you men who literally go around just fucking with every single girl possible. Like, every single girl that you can. Not knowing that it could be that person's best friend. And mind you, maybe a week or so, a guy that I mess with, literally added her, trying to mess with her. She don't do that, by the way. And in case you guys know who my best friend is, she doesn't do that. She's a lover girl, and I love her for that. She's a lover girl. She don't fuck the first date. Okay? I hate men. I'm gonna start liking women. Women are gonna treat me so much better. I already know. I'm gonna start liking women. Fuck men. Actually, little boys. Because you guys are not men. And if you think you're a man, you're definitely not. You need to start acting like one.
I'm glad you corrected it, because once again, I don't know who you be dealing with. I don't know who you modern women be messing with, but no, absolutely not. A lot of guys are not doing that. A lot of guys think that's weird. Number one. Number two, you can go on over there to women. I know y'all think that's the default, even though lesbians have said, please stop saying that. Please stop putting us in this little discussion that you guys got going on. We don't like it. It's weird. Please stop. You continue to say, well, I'm just going to go date women. How do you think that makes them feel, you talking like that? Stop saying that.
Women will find a man more attractive after said man has been seen with another attractive female. I want to know if that's applicable, like genders reverse. I went out with this group of people, and there was this guy. He was like too young for me, I think, but he was hitting on me. I was like, no, but like, I'll help you. Find somebody else. Who do you want? Like, who do you want? He points at some girl. I'm like, okay, go up to her. And like, this is what you say, go do. And then he comes back and he's like, that didn't fucking work. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, then let's try this. And then like we go over in her general vicinity, like where she can definitely see us, but where there are other people like dancing, and I throw some ass, right? Like I just back it up on him for like, I don't know, 1 or 2 songs. And then I looked at him and I was like, all right, maybe now. Immediately she was down. Immediately she was like, they were face to face talk. I was like, weird, but I had a feeling, I had a hunch that would work. What I want to know is it the same way, men? This is actually a question for you. If you see a woman with like a really cool, attractive dude, does that make her more attractive to you? Like, does that make you want her more?
And of course you got men in the comments saying it's quite the opposite. It's quite the opposite. Y'all like to do that. That's why y'all congregate around one man, the same man over and over again. When men would be like, oh, she's taken. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't some men that be like, oh, she's taken. I like that. Hey, do you need a boyfriend? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there are some guys out there, I would probably say most guys, as evidenced by the comments, that said, no, absolutely not. Never would I wouldn't have even thought about this. This is where men and women differ. All of these comments, just by men. Nope, I would just think good for him and move on with my life. No, men do not need social validation to decide who to like. That's what y'all need. So when you go over there, back it up on him, this woman's like, oh, somebody likes him. All right, cool. Well, if she doesn't want him, I'm going to go talk to him. You just moved. If you would have stayed with him, maybe I would have left him alone. But I just see it as you went over there, put a little something on him, and then you walked off. Okay, cool. I'm going to go over there and see what he's talking about. Because now he's not your man. I don't know you. You don't know me. So we're not breaking girl code. I'm going to go see what's up. That's what y'all do. I guess it's a mechanism to kind of keep you safe. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, man. Y'all do you.
It's been over a month since I lost my virginity, and a lot has changed since then. As we all know, I'm 24 and I had sex for the very first time at the end of August. And since then, my body count has gone up to 3, which I know in some people's eyes now automatically makes me, I think is so funny because I've literally had sex like less than 10 times. I feel like I understand sex a lot more than I did a month ago. I feel like the first time that I had sex, I was just like processing so many new things and also processing how I felt about it. I was really overwhelmed and like overstimulated the first time. Now I have a better head on my shoulders about it. A lot of my anxieties that came from like being a late bloomer, that like I wouldn't know what to do, like, being naked in front of someone, like all those things sort of like resolve themselves just by experiencing it. Most of my experiences have all been very good, so I'm really happy about that. Now is my opportunity to like go out there and like actually see what I like. At first it was just like trying to experience new things. I'm currently just seeing the Sexter, but one of my goals was to have a roster, maybe like going on a couple of dates, like just to like see what's out there and like assess. I do have a crush on someone, but I can't say anything more about it because I'm manifesting so hard and I need it to come true.
Somebody in the comments said nothing is sacred anymore, and I've got to agree.
If you're a black man or you know a black man, stop scrolling because I have a really, really important question. So y'all have probably seen there's a big influx in like community groups. There's kickball clubs and running clubs, and I just started a pickleball club. Volume Vibe, pull up. But anyway, there's all these clubs around like building community. But I notice every time I pull up, for the most part, it's like 70% women or more. And so my question for the men, and if you're a woman, you can forward this to a man so he can answer this for me. Why is this happening? Are y'all in y'all like no new friends era? Are we shy? Like what's going on?
Men share on X, aka Twitter, screenshots of women begging for money.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So a guy tweeted, bruh, the amount of black British women dating transactionally these days is crazy. And someone quote tweeted, not being funny, I feel like men exaggerate this. I honestly don't think the girlies are out here being beggy like you claim they are.
Modern women think it's okay to be doing stuff like this. It's really a weird thing that they're doing. And they think it's a man supposed to do it. They think it's a man's duty to pay for their stuff.
Women have lost their mind, and it's evident more and more each day. They come online with their backyard BBLs, they goddamn basement braces, more niggas in them than a goddamn fully packed slave ship, and then want to get mad at men for having preferences. Men be like, okay, we accept that's what y'all got to bring to the table, whatever. But once a man has a preference, it's a whole different story. Women be like, oh, he gotta be 6'6", dark skin with waves, he gotta make 17 figures a year while I make, working customer service and yada yada, he gotta take care of my kids. But once a man says, oh yeah, I like my women a little petite, oh, he likes kids, like, whoa, that's not what he said. Just because he don't like big birthday at 350 don't mean he likes children. Sometimes a little slim petite thing is what he's looking for, and you should be looking for going to the gym if you upwards of 300 pounds. I don't give a damn what they telling you. Go to the gym. And I know y'all keep being like, you need to go to the gym too. This ain't about me, it's about you. Anyway though, then they go, oh yeah, I like light skin girls, he's a colorist. It's like, girl, like, you like dark-skinned men, but that don't make you a colorist. But if a man say, oh, I like light-skinned women, he's a colorist. Like, he has colorism. Like, it don't make sense. Every time a man has a preference on anything, women just drag him to the ground.
So last night, a guy ended things with me because he said he was in love with another girl, and he said that he doesn't want to date a hot girl because it's too intimidating for him, because he has this fear that the hot girl is going to have too many options and leave him for a hotter guy. What? I don't know if he was just trying to like let me down easy and just be like, oh, you're too hot, like I can't date you, or if he was like opening up to me and like telling me something very vulnerable. But I didn't know that was a thing. Like, apparently men don't date women because they're too intimidating for them. I'm so perturbed. Dating for me in LA has been insane. I don't understand because I have my shit together. I have my own business. I make good money. I take care of myself. I don't drink. I'm very emotionally regulated. I've been working on myself for 13 years. I'm not crazy. I don't have like any crazy toxic behaviors that I can think of anymore. So I just don't know. I don't know if dating in LA is just like the worst, like everyone says, and I've been trying to like be positive and be like, I don't know about that, but last night was crazy. That I'm like, okay, I think I'm just gonna focus on myself and make TikToks, and yeah, really, really interesting.
And I'm just trying to be like aware of men in the world, okay? And do single men like go anywhere without a chaperone? Like, I'm actually starting to panic. Like, where are they? Like, where are they? I feel like anytime I see a man vaguely my age, like a woman appears, a child appears, that is a father. Where are the single men? Where are they? Do they not go to the grocery store? I've like never seen a man at Target. How do you eat? Like, you can't exclusively go to sports games with the bros. Where are you? Like, I know I'm at a deficit because I go to like Broadway shows and tap dancing lessons and I work from home. But like, I exist in public. I go out for drinks. I go to coffee shops. I go to the mall. I go to the store. Where are they? Where are they going? Where are they? Do they go anywhere? Like, do men only go places if their girlfriend made them? If they have a child to feed? Help.
Guy in the comments said, do single women go anywhere without a judgy friend group? If I can find a woman without her friend group, I'd be more inclined to shoot my shot. I'm 29. I go everywhere, unchaperoned. Another guy says, men have been told not to talk to any females or they're creeps. Another guy says, as a single man, whenever I go out, I'm in and out. I don't stand around. I grab and go so I can get back to the house and get back to my hobbies, which is what most men are doing nowadays. They're not standing around. They're not looking for you. They're not waiting for an opportunity. Y'all said the opportunities are closed. There are no opportunities. So men just get whatever they need to get and go home.
There is no way to avoid being a single mom. And I don't think people realize that. Because people will always say,
you let him hit it raw. You didn't have second thoughts. Now you a single mom. Now you a single mom.
You think a man should ever tell a female how to dress?
What I've seen here tonight? Hell yeah. Hell no. Hell no. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Why'd you say that? Because would you wear that shit to church? I do. I go to church in my living room. God damn it, I wear what I want. But in a brick and mortar? Hell no. Hell no. So yeah, you do tell a woman what she need to be wearing when she leave the house. Just saying. Just saying. I'm just saying.
What?
Ain't no man telling me what to put on, and I'm married.
Okay, so one, you do realize that 9 times out of 10 being socialized as a male includes being intentionally neglected as a child, because boys are easier to raise, being taught to hate the feminine parts of you, and therefore you would project that outward, etc., etc., etc. So what we're not going to do is pretend that feminists don't have male children and then teach them like feminist values. There are men who are feminists because their mothers and their mothers' partners are feminists. So, and then second of all, you talking about you're consistently being dominated in your relationships with men. I know you're speaking generally, but let's please stop pretending that women cannot have domineering, subjugating personalities. Because in my personal experience, I've never been dominated by a man in my life. In any form of fashion. Quite the opposite, in fact.
Modern women, for some reason, continue to try to put themselves outside of the problem. And they want to say, oh, it's just the men. The men are not lonely enough. Whereas a man has to take accountability and fix it. But every time a man comes back to the table and says, okay, this is what I've been working on, he still gets met with a list of 10 other things that he's not doing right.
I'm going to get called a pick-me for this, and that's okay, but women are mean. Women are really, really mean. And before you call me a pick-me, before you accuse me of being a pick-me, we all know that one girl, that one woman that we just can't stand, because quite frankly, she's a cunt. Okay, she's pure fucking evil, and she's a cunt. Let's just say it how it is. She's a bitch. Okay? Women can be bitches. Okay? Men can be assholes. They can be. Okay? And that one girl you just can't stand because she's just an evil bitch. She has a boyfriend. She has a fiance. She has a husband. Okay? There's one girl I'm thinking of off the top of my head I went to middle school and high school with. And that girl is the reason why several other girls in my middle school and high school got Baker acted. Like, legitimately, she made people go to the loony bin. That's how bad she was with her bullying. And that bitch has a fiance. I pray for him every night. I pray for him. I feel so bad for that boy because, dude, what are you thinking? It can't be that good. It just can't. I'm going to paint you a picture of how evil this girl is just to prove my point. When I was in middle school, she had a birthday party at her pool, and she made all the girls send her photos of them in bikinis in order to be invited. I was not invited to the party. I was not asked to do this. I actually heard this from my mother, who heard it from somebody else's mother. And let me tell you, I may hate that woman, I may hate that girl, but my mom hates her more.
So many of you know, some of you do not. I changed therapists from a female therapist to a male therapist to kind of do an experiment. I've been really struggling with confidence and self-doubt. So in my head, I'm not joking, I thought, who has the audacity? Who has self-confidence out the ass that I could really figure out how to have that? A man. So some of you may have seen the video on my Instagram. I went to a new therapist and he said, "What's up? You know, introduce yourself, whatever." And I said, "I'm having self-confidence issues." And I thought, men have the audacity and I'd like to find it. So I came to you. He said, "Okay." So I've taken some notes. I've now gone 3 times. First one was virtual. Next 2 times were in person. I've taken some notes on my findings as with my new male therapist. So number 1, I did call him an arrogant jackass at our second session. He was like, I think I know a lot about you. It was like, first of all, we've been in 1 session, but I'm not very hard to read. He's like, and since, you know, I know that you probably have been overthinking our last session, you know, up until now. So what have you been thinking? What have you come up with? I was like, first of all, that's a crazy thing to say. Second of all, yes, I have. And I said, well, one of them is I wasn't sure if you were an arrogant jackass or if I liked you. And he goes, well, it can be both. And I go, yeah, I think it is. So that was nice. I did get a new diagnosis. First session. I'm not sure if I'm going to talk about that yet. But I was like, and it did take me until my 3rd session to accept that. Yeah, and he was like, we did, you know, tussle a little bit on why I was fighting him on that. And I said, hey, I don't believe you about this. And he goes, okay, well, I could be wrong. I'm never wrong, but I could be wrong. There's the confidence I'm looking to get. He has referenced, or last session, he referenced F1 drivers to help me with something that I'm struggling with, and it worked. Showed me a little video of an F1 driver, and then I've been watching videos of that F1 driver, and part of my homework is to watch a couple of F1 movies. And that's, it's actually working. And he is very sarcastic, which has been oddly healing. So overall, right now, I'm actually having a great time, and I think he could be, yes, an arrogant jackass, but I like him, and I think it's working for me.
Woman in the comments said, I had a male psychiatrist. He literally got me sober by saying, would you be more embarrassed by not drinking in college or having to drop out of college to go to rehab? You pick. Bingo. Sometimes you have to knock these modern women completely out of their delusion for them to understand that people are patty caking with you. They playing around. This is what reality looks like.
How you view Jenny and Forrest Gump says so much about your personality, because the quickness in which so many people would demonize her character and call her all these sort of names is concerning. It's always concerning, but it's a telltale sign, because how you view Jenny is not only it's not only a look in how you view women overall, but also how you view victims.
I agree. A movie called Forrest Gump, about the life of Forrest Gump, that you see Jenny as a victim in somebody else's story, tells me that you don't view Forrest as a victim of Jenny, which says a lot. Yes, Jenny had to deal with a bunch of fucked up shit. That's fucking life. We fucking all do. But the fact that you view Jenny as a victim that needs to be protected and people need to do all these things for, but the whole point of the fucking movie is showing Forrest Gump's life, and you saw all the times that she fucked that man over, and you still see her as the victim and not him as the victim in his whole story by how she used him, says a lot. The only reason why you view Jenny as a victim and not an abuser is because she's a woman. Because if you switch the genders, you would call him abuser all day fucking long. But because she's a woman, you're making excuses for her. Really think about this. The only reason why she got married to Forrest, the only reason why she even told him that her son was his, is because she was on her deathbed. If she did not die, she was never going to tell Forrest that that was her son, and she was never going to get married to him. So this idea that she's a victim and, oh, we need to feel bad for her. No, she's an abuser in Forrest's story. And the fact that you always gloss over that says a lot.
And that's what I'm saying. These modern women, they only think about themselves. They only think about things from their perspective. I remember the woman giving the breakdown. She's married, by the way, giving the breakdown of Rocky and how it's not romantic. Her husband was like, man, I think this is a romantic movie. And she's like, no, it's not. How could Rocky be a romantic movie? Adrian was treated badly, yada, yada, yada. And really, people had to break it down to her and say, no, actually, they're one and the same. Rocky was an up-and-coming boxer. He didn't really have a lot of faith in himself, but Adrian was there every step of the way. She held him down. She supported him through thick and thin, no matter what it was, no matter if that man got knocked out of the ring, that man got twisted, tied up, KO'd. She was still right there. No, get up, you can do it. And just because he got knocked out, she didn't lose respect for him. The only moment in time that she lost respect for him was when he quit. She would lose respect for him. She would be disappointed in him. She would be upset with him, is when he just stopped trying. He stopped, well, I can't do this, man. I don't think it. Stop talking like that. You can do it. And then she would build him back up. You can do it. And it's the same way with Rocky. Rocky would do the same thing with Adrian. Well, I ain't that pretty. Oh, I can't do it like these other girls. And what are you talking about? Stop talking like that. That ain't true. I love you for you. I like you for who you are. It's one and the same. How can you not see romance in that? How can you watch a Disney movie, Beauty and the Beast, and see romance in that? See what you want to see, but you can't turn around and see how romantic it is that two people support each other through thick and thin. That's literally the vows that you take. And you're married. That's literally in the vows. For better or for worse. That's literally what Rocky and Adrian were. For better or for worse. Rich or poor, literally Rocky and Adrian. They're literally living out marriage vows, and you're sitting up here saying it isn't romantic. Stupid. These modern women don't think at all. It's right there in front of your face, and these modern women don't think at all. They say a lot of stupid stuff, and this just adds to it. I'm done.
So put a finger down if one time you realized that you needed to pay your rent, but you had half of the rent in one bank account and half in the other. That equaled up to like a little over $2,000. And bank transfers around that time was taking days instead of like a couple hours. So your boyfriend at the time was like, hey, just send me the money and I will pay your rent. So you send him the money and he pays your rent, all is good. But then a couple months later, your leasing office emails you and lets you know that that rent payment that you made in August, it is now November, has been reversed. And since it's been reversed, you now owe your rental office $3,000. And because your ex is evil and hurt because you're so much happier and peaceful without him, he decides to call his bank, the only bank that he has, which is Cash App, and tell him that somebody stole his debit card and made that payment to your leasing office, even though that money did not belong to him. So you freak out a little bit and you're like, you know what? I'm going to call my mom. I need some guidance from my mom. And you're super hyper independent. You really don't like to be a burden on your family, and you really just like to do everything on your own and figure everything out on your own. But you're like, this time, this might be a little too much for me to bear by myself. So you call your mom, and your mom tells you, your mom basically lets you know that you need to be a better adult. You need to be more responsible, and she would never get herself into a situation like this. So that didn't help. And then your stepdad's like, hey, give me his number. So at first you're like, I'm not going to give my stepdad his number because the evil demon spawn that I unfortunately call my ex has already threatened to off himself. So I didn't want to, add fuel to the fire. But then again, I was like, well, he has never respected me a day in his life. So maybe he'll respect a man. So my stepdad calls him, and that evil demon spawn somehow convinced my stepdad that the money, the thousands that he stole from me, was just money he's getting back because he felt like I owed it to him because he was paying my bills and taking care of me. And because somehow men will always believe each other, he believed him. And I don't remember him ever paying for anything. I do remember paying his PO officer because he is on probation for shooting at his ex-girlfriend. I also remember the one time he tried to do something nice for me because I was going through a rough time. So he took me to my favorite outlet mall. I'm thinking he's going to buy me something, but no, I paid for everything, including the items he put in my basket. I also remember buying him an Xbox just because he asked me to. You also remember taking him to work every day and picking him up every day he had to be at work and spending sometimes hours on the road because of traffic because he didn't have a car and he didn't have a license. Also remember one time he was driving your car, again, without a license, and he got into a car accident. He then tells you if the police shows up, and they did, that he was going to go straight to jail because he didn't have a license. So you, the dumb, stupid idiot that you are, told the police that you were the one driving. He left you at the scene because he had to go to work. A job that he later quit because he didn't like his supervisor's attitude. Also, your car insurance went from being $150 a month to $300. Even after everything that person did, you refused to believe that you were manipulated that entire relationship, so you decided to stay and give him chance after chance after chance. Your final straw, though, was going through his Instagram DMs and seeing him DM everybody and their mom. You decided to move out of a place that you were staying with him that he was not even paying rent for and move in with your best friend, paying $1,000 just to get her out of her lease. After that, because you're a dumb, stupid idiot, you give him another chance. This time, you end things for good because he got upset with you because you did not want to have sex with him. Because actually, there is no because. There doesn't need to be a because. You just did not want to. So because this evil, narcissistic, manipulative Leo sees you being happy, happier than you've ever been with him, he decides to call his bank and reverse a payment that you made to your leasing office, saying that somebody stole his car, and your leasing office gives him the money, thousands of dollars of your money, and then tells you if you don't pay them back $3,000 plus by Monday, then they're going to evict you.
Don't ask me for relationship advice. I will tell you to dust yourself off and try his friends. I don't know what you guys have going on. He was doing something weird. You were doing something weird. Yeah. Y'all might have been right for each other.
Let's take a second to talk about what it's like dating in 2025. For reference, I am 29 years old, and never in my entire life would I have thought that at 29 I wouldn't have a single suitable partner in sight. I truly thought I would be married and have at least one kid by now. And honestly, it doesn't even look like I'm even headed in that direction right now. What you've heard about online dating, it's true. It's the worst. And if you aren't single, if you are married and have been or dating or engaged to someone that you've known since high school, college, before the dating apps even existed, you do not get to ask your friends, well, are you on the apps? Nope. It is not great. I haven't been on them, but a while ago I was on and off them. I think the only way for men to get their shit together is for women to get off the apps and make men be men again. At first, I did a deep a self-reflection. I was am I asking for too much? And if you're asking yourself the same thing, girls, the answer is probably no. I am literally just looking for someone who can contribute to my life, not provide for me. I'm clearly doing this just fine on my own, but I want someone who can contribute. I want someone who has the same work ethic and someone who has the same goals and sets goals and completes goals. I don't know if it's because I'm in Kansas City. I don't think it is. Kansas City's been ranked one of the worst cities to date in, but I feel like this is a nationwide issue among women in their late 20s, early 30s, successful women. I have a job, I have a house, I take care of myself. And I think it can be very intimidating for a man who does not have those things to be okay with that. It feels like a plea for help of where are you guys at?
Guy says in the comments, you cannot force men to do something that they don't want to do. Men have checked out of dating for reasons bigger than dating apps. They're tired of being disrespected, used, and marginalized by women because they are not tall enough. Standards are fine, but are you willing to keep the same standards at 29 if you're still single at 49? What about 59? And her answer to that question is probably yes. I'm never going to lower my standards. I'm always going to think that I'm Snow White. I always think that I'm going to be Cinderella. I'm always going to think that I'm one of the best looking women out there, even at my age. and I shouldn't have to settle, even though a man is probably not getting all of what he wants. I'm the best thing that he's ever come across. Yikes.
There is no way to avoid being a single mom. And I don't think people realize that. Because people will always say,
You let him hit it raw. You didn't have second thoughts. Now you a single mom. Now you a single mom.
If you don't want your husband watching, then you should not be reading those little dirty fantasy books. I said what I said. That's literally. So if you're not okay with somebody watching, girl, you should not be reading it. I'm sorry to tell you.
Guy in the comments said, the book talk girlies are not happy with you. A woman says, I'm not watching real life people go at it from every single angle, showing every single detail. Explain to me how words are equivalent to 4K videos. I can imagine my husband while reading. He's not doing that looking at another woman's leg spread. Well, I think you're only looking at it from one side of the floor, Lillian. You could be thinking about your husband, but you could also be thinking about the person that they're describing, because they aren't describing your husband. Now, are they? And you know that. They don't need to describe your husband. Your husband is not the cream of the crop. He's not the, I know you love your husband. I know you're attracted to him. I get it. But what they're describing is what most women find attractive. And your husband is probably not going to be it. So when you're reading this stuff, you're going to have to insert your husband into something that's already made for you. They're already making an image. It's like going to McDonald's and ordering a cheeseburger. And then you gotta take the pickles off. I don't want pickles. I gotta scrape the ketchup off. I gotta take off the mustard. But the cheeseburger's already made with pickles, ketchup, and mustard. It's already there. You've already seen it. You've already thought about it. Now you just have to scrape it off. You have to scrape it from your mind and start inserting the things or leaving out the things that you do or don't want. So it's still there. How is a 4K video? Your mind can be any definition that you want it to be. It's definitely not going to be grainy. 4K, get this, 4K is detail. It's detail. It's a level of detail. Guess what they have in those books that you're reading? Details. Details, 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 details. They have details. They have a lot of details. They have specific details. Details so you can understand how he looks, his jawline, his eye color, piercing eyes, his eyebrows, his hair, if it's one strand out of place, a 5 o'clock shadow, the perfections, the imperfections that make him perfect. All of these things, the insecurities that you can relate to, you, him, how y'all relate to each other, the dynamic, the push, the pull, the fantasies, the excitement, the building up, the limerence. I want all of these things, the passion when it finally happens, the positions. We're going to talk about those things in a classy but seductive and just all-out feral way if we can do that, because we're women and we know how to do that. Does that make sense to you? So y'all need to start understanding that what you're looking at is the same, what you're reading, I should say, is the same thing that he's looking at. Your mind goes to the same place. The receptors, the idea, you can actually, and I've seen and heard women sit up there and say, yep, you can get off of that. Yep, I've gotten off of that. I'm just telling you, this is something they've admitted, and I'm not talking about on the internet. Okay? Yes, I've done this. That's just what I do. So y'all need to get this out of your head that, oh, I'm so innocent just for just reading a book. It's innocent. Nothing that I do is wrong. And even if it is wrong, it's not as bad as what he's doing.
There is nothing worse than an unfunny man that doesn't know when to stop talking. I went on a date with this guy, mind you, he was late to our very first date, and it was fine. He didn't blow me away, but the conversation was okay. He was very well traveled, made a lot of money. Looks wise, you know, not super attractive if I'm being honest. I'd give him like a 6 out of 10, but I'm not huge on looks anyway. So if the personality is there, I can overlook, you know, what you got going on up here. But also it was very much like class clown. It was something weird about his personality. But I was like, you know what, keep an open mind. Maybe he was just nervous and that was like nervous energy he was giving off. So anyway, let me read you some text messages. So he says, you in for the night? I say yes. He says, I was in a tournament, was going to invite you to watch. I say, oh, I see, LOL. He said, I won. I said, I expect nothing less, with like a smiley face. He puts the devil emojis, to which I don't respond because what am I supposed to say to that? So then he texts me the next day and he says, hey. I say, hey. He says, what are you doing? I said, getting Jax down for bed and then going to a birthday party. How about you? He says, oh, so the spelling is diabolical. Oh, so you gonna hit the streets tonight, but I couldn't get your raggedy ass out the other day. Shaking my head, like to the tournament. The second he said raggedy, I said, it gives a lot of things. It gives standoffish, it gives bougie. Raggedy, never. And I understand that he was trying to be funny, but to a girl like me, that's not funny. I will never let you speak to me that way. This is not what a group chat or group gameplay on the fucking PlayStation. Like, I am a lady. You do not talk to me like that. I said, hilarious, no emojis. He said, this is why I didn't give it up the first day. Like when we met, slams phone on the couch and throws glass against the wall. I give him this emoji because you're being weird. He said, you gonna miss me when I'm gone. I said, that remains to be seen. He said, you don't see what's right in front of you. Shaking my head. He's like, he thinks that this is funny. The second you called me out of my name, nothing about this was funny. I said, the jokes just keep on going. And he said, the level of disrespect is unparalleled and utterly, I'm flabbergasted by your inadequacies to fully decipher the paradigm proposed. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickle, like, oh, brother. I said, okay, so what do you say? Because I'm not playing into this. He said, I'm daddy. That was my final ick. I said, yeah, you're done. I did not respond to that. Then he texted me back a couple of days later because I didn't respond to that nasty text. And he said, LOL, it was good meeting you. Be safe, playa. Tell me you're hurt without telling me you're hurt, playa is hilarious. That's actually so funny. He texted me again, I need a shoulder massage. What? And then he said, you're so fun, ... They're not lonely enough. The men are not lonely enough because what is this, honey?
So basically he was making good money. He was making good money, but he wasn't making enough money to make the types of jokes that he was making. Got it.
The double standard I will stick by until the day I die is that it is really cute, really fun, really sexy when a girl has a boyfriend and she does not show him off on social media. She keeps that close to the chest. You would never even know. When a man does that, that is scary. Why are there no traces of your girlfriend on any of your social media pages, especially if you're active? Who are you hiding her from?
I need to keep you private, but you need to post me. SYBAU. Another person says, y'all be having the dumbest opinions. Stupid. But here's a woman who says, no, seriously, because my mom always said for a healthy relationship that's going to work, the man has to love the woman more. Just once again, we'll refer to the comment previously that said, y'all be having the dumbest opinions, the stupidest opinions, and we'll say them with all the confidence in the world. We'll say them. Stand it. Standing flat-footed. Just a dumb thing to think.
Here's the thing about real men. Real men don't lecture me how to be a man when you bend over and show the world your cleavage in almost all your videos. As a married mother of 3, just because your simp spineless husband allows you to pimp yourself out online for sexual attention from random men doesn't mean that's the example of a real man. A real man would not allow you to be posting your tits for the entire world to see online. Okay, sweetheart, maybe you should get off the internet and go spend some more time with your kids and less time online being a...
I recently read this paper all about the money shot on a woman's face, why it happens, why men do it, and why men like it. You may have saw my other video where I specifically mentioned one of the papers referenced in this paper where they discuss the reason why men like to do it is because they like it's similar to a mother breastfeeding her child, and then the man wants to be more like a mother. But this is a summary of the whole paper in general. The paper discusses the topic in general, but they actually spoke to 16 men about this and asked them their thoughts and feelings. And the summary of the paper is that men like it, as it's an act of male dominance and sexual aggression, and that they wanted to engage in it despite their general belief that women would not be interested. That's the summary. And it discusses how we know that influence is real life bedroom activities. And even some of the men say themselves that a lot of the things they now want to do or try is specifically because of they would never have had this idea, but they feel like their sexual desires are not being filled because they can't replicate the things in because women just simply don't want to do it. One interesting quote that I want to read out is about how they spoke to a adult performer and director, and he basically said, "I really would like to show what I believe men, the audience members, want to see. Violence against women. The most violent we can get is the money shot on the face. Men get off behind that because they even get with the women they can't have. We try to inundate the world with orgasms of the face." He's in the industry and he says that men just want more and more violent. Most of the men they spoke to were a little bit more sheepish in their answers at the beginning because it's an awkward conversation, but they kind of started to lean into the fact of why they might like this action is because it's more taboo. And when asked to reflect on that, all basically led down to dominance over a woman. Yet they know it's demeaning for a woman, and many women don't like it. And therefore, when the woman portrays excitement and enthusiasm about the act, they obviously get more turned on and they're more into it, even though they know in reality it's all fake and she probably doesn't like it, but they really actively have to remind themselves that this is a fake situation. A lot of them kind of struggle to put into words as well why they like it, even though they know it's degrading and defiling of women. They really kind of struggled with it. Many of them blamed for this. And when they asked them about doing this in real life rather than just like watching, most of them said how almost all women rejected this. They asked, but all women were like, we don't want this. They know that women in real life don't want it. Some said that they would never do it with girls they actually loved or were in a relationship. They would only do it with scumbags because it's so degrading and defiling. Specifically, this guy's quote I really want to read out. He found it sexy and arousing because you are staking your territory on what you're going to do and what you're going to do to the girl. He said he enjoyed it even more knowing that the girl was into it. However, her pleasure was secondary to his. I don't want to be a dick about it, but I'm going to get what I want to get. So he would do it regardless. The seed of doing this action was originated from, like all of them pretty much say, they never would have done this if it wasn't for seeing this action and being aroused by it, and how now therefore their normal sexual life feels inadequate and boring because of it. Even though they often meet girls who just don't want to do all these actions, but they feel unfulfilled. They still want to do it despite knowing the women don't. I think it's an interesting conversation, and I just things like this is where I love asking the questions because it's not about the guys. I want their honesty, and this is good. I want to hear honest opinions about this. So when I talk to my friends or other people about specifically topics like this, which are a bit taboo or like personal, I'm like, I don't care what you say. I want to know, but I want your opinion because I want to know where it stems from. Like, obviously, all of this comes from, like, can you judge someone for how they are now because of the cultural and societal ways they were raised? Big question. You've got to be responsible for your own actions, but understanding where those have stemmed from can help you in the future. And whether or not women like this is totally up to you. Everything is subjective when it comes to this nature of topic, you know? You like what you like. Some people might allow it, some people won't. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of men, I mean, this was only 16, but in the context of this topic, it was a decent amount of people to talk to. But the fact that pretty much all of them were like, I'm going to do it anyway, even if I know the woman doesn't want it. Or at least I want to do it, even though I know women don't want it. Interesting.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever even thought about doing this. I don't think that I have. Honestly, you guys, and this is the problem with y'all's thinking. Y'all feel like because you talk to like, what'd you say, 16 dudes? Which is what another dude said in the comments. Because y'all talk to like 16 guys, then that automatically means that all of the guys want to do this. All of the guys thought about doing this. All of the guys watching or seeing. That's number one. Number two, y'all like to dump on guys about, let's go with the argument that they would want to do this, whatever that one guy said and did. This is just another way to demonize maybe what a man would want to do. While a woman goes out there and says, get on the ground and bark. I want you to crawl. They actually write that into books. That's a part of the arousal. That's what women are doing, unprompted, without a man's input. Y'all like to say, man, guys are the worst. They're scum of the earth. How would they want to dominate and they want to do this, they want to do that. And then you go look at the other side of it and you think, dog, man, women are just as bad, if not worse. Some of these women in the comments, the things that they say to men, And y'all over and over again don't want to address that. But once again, yet and still, it's always a man's problem. A man is always living in a fantasy. A man is always not living in reality. It's exhausting.